everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where the lovely Missy is my guest expert for today. And Missy is an energy intuitive and a transformative guide. And the topic we are going to discuss today is seeing energy. So, first of all, welcome, Missy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I would love to know, what does it mean to see energy? Because it's usually not something we see.
Yeah, so I think that all people have spiritual gifts,
Mhm.
and there's 8 of them, and they're the declares. So we've probably
Mhm.
heard of that before, like clairvoyance, clairaudience. So I happen to be clairvoyant. So
Mhm.
that means I can see energy. So it started when I was little and I could see ghosts and things,
Mhm.
which ghosts are just energy.
Right.
They're energy. And then over time, with training and things, I learned how to read it more accurately. So
Mhm.
when I work with a client in a session, we'll work on an issue or a problem. So just say like you have anxiety and you're not
Mhm.
sure, why do I have anxiety? So I can ask your body a question. So I can say, oh, why does Suzanne have anxiety? And then what will happen is I'll communicate with your body. Your body will light up and show me different places where you trap emotions in the body. And they're usually trapped emotions. So actual emotions or beliefs a lot, or thoughts or things like that, programming that you've kept in your body that now show up. And
Mhm.
then I'll be able to find the exact emotion or the belief that's causing that anxiety, and the age you were when you trapped it, and then where you're storing it in your body. It might
Mm.
be in an organ, it might be in a chakra often. Um, yeah, so I'll see it and then I'll double check it and kind of refine it
Mhm.
using different modalities that I've trained with. So I'm kind of
Mm.
using like a whole bunch of things at once.
Right. And is it like similar or even the same to like seeing someone's aura?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think we could get a lot of information from the aura, but that's not the primary way I see. I more just see like the thing, the
Hmm.
actual thing and where it is in the body. So I'm not really trained in like how to read the aura exactly, but
Ah.
I know a lot of people do that really well.
Hmm. So you really see the emotion or like the blockage that it's in their energy body.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Mm. And how do people can like how they become more in contact with their own energy body?
I think one really important thing is energetic hygiene, and that's something that we don't always talk about. I mean, it's not something I learned in school, but
Hmm.
just like the way we take a shower, we brush our teeth every day,
Hmm.
it's really important to have good energetic hygiene, I think. So that
Mm.
means, because we're constantly around people, even if we're not around people, we're on Zoom like this. So we're
Right.
texting, we're taking in other people's energy and collecting
Mm.
it in our field, in our energy body. So one of the best things we can do is at the end of the day, be really conscious of giving the energy back. So give anybody you're around, give it their energy back to them. We can just do that in our minds
Hmm.
and with our intention. And then just set up your grounding cord. Like there's ways, processes that I teach, like allowing it to leave your grounding cord, but holding the intention to release it from your system
Mm.
is one of the first ways to actually be able to start reading or feeling what your actual energy is versus
Mm.
somebody
Right.
else's energy.
Yeah, because we tend to carry a lot of emotions or burdens that are not even ours to carry, right?
Oh, definitely. Especially if you're an empath or HSP, we're constantly doing, anybody actually, we're all doing it.
Mm.
Our
Yeah, because
animals.
I have like a favorite mantra that actually came to me when I was in a on a plane when there's
Really?
and on a long plane ride. I mean, I went from the Netherlands to New Zealand, so I was in there for like 27 hours. So
Oh,
I yeah, and I had this mantra like repeating in my mind that says, "My energy is my own. No one can affect my energy. It's my own." So it's and that helped me to get through that a lot better than I thought I would.
yeah, that's amazing. And that's actually our power. That's
Mm.
that's super important because
Mm.
we have seniority and authority over our own energy field and our aura. And
Mhm.
that's our power, is that we get to choose what's inside of it.
Mm, exactly. And what energetic boundaries,
Yeah.
that's so important to set, but how can we do that properly?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you asking me
Oh,
how
so
do we?
yeah, yeah.
So a lot of it is, I think, setting yourself up in the morning, I think is really important. So tuning into yourself. So we have different parts of our energy body. We have our actual physical body, and I think of it like an egg, then is like the yolk, and then the white part of the egg is like our aura, and then we have an aura filter that's like the egg shell. And that
Mm,
aura filter, we want to tune into it every day and kind of like set it, like where does it feel good outside of,
mm,
what size do we want it? If we're in nature, we might want it to be wider so we can feel nature. But if we're like on a subway in New York City, we might want to bring it in a
mm,
little bit closer. So
right.
I think setting that up and then making sure that it's not a wall, so that
Mm,
that aura filter is well, it's actually a filter, right? So it
right.
allows in the good things. You can kind of program it, or what I always do is I go, anything here that comes into my field is for my highest and best good. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
set it and forget it. So then I know that's the intention. So anything that comes into my life, I may not understand it, and that's
Mm,
okay, but I know that it's for my highest good because I've set myself up that way. So, and
mm,
that's not
yes.
just anybody can hold that intention with their aura filter to allow to filter out more positive, negative things and allow in more positive things.
Mm. Yeah, because I have this, I actually do this when I do some tarot cards and I say, I welcome like the energy of the tarot cards and I say only positive energies are allowed.
Yes, exactly. And we have the power to do
Mm.
that.
I think we as humans, we tend to underestimate actually the power that our own energy holds, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we're
Mm.
constantly reading each other's energy. So
Mm.
that's why like a lot of times you might meet someone for the first time and you're like, ooh, I don't really like that person, but they didn't even speak yet. Or, oh
Right.
God, I love that person. It's because you're reading their energy. And that's what we do. Like animals are doing it all the time, but
Mm.
we're always reading each other's energy, why it's so important
Mm-hmm.
to be conscious of your energy every day and what you're projecting.
Mm. Yeah. And how can we develop that gift more?
I think by being conscious, so setting yourself up in the morning, like taking some time in the morning to, whether you meditate or you set up your aura, that I think to me reminds you every moment. It reminds you because it's a habit, right? It
Mm-hmm.
reminds you to do it every day or every moment. And then when you're with people, I think it's really helpful to sort of be in the center of yourself and really be present with somebody else. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can really be conscious of the exchange of energy, or what you're become curious about the other person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, how am I feeling around this person? What does my gut say around this person?
Mm-hmm.
So we're learning to read each other that way.
When I hear this, it almost feels like a mindfulness practice to be present in the moment with each other's or your own energy.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
being present is a big part of it
yeah.
because we're a spirit. Well, my belief is we're a spirit in a body.
Mm-hmm.
And when those two are working together, that's when we're most powerful and most present.
Mm-hmm.
So being present in the body is really an important first step.
Mm. And you mentioned you can see like the blockages in someone's energy body. What do you see as some of the most common blockages that we mostly all share?
Well, I think one sort of I don't know, I guess issue that we all have is not good enough, is feeling not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling not good enough, it's almost like we all came into our bodies with a different version of not good enough. So it doesn't
Mm.
look the same necessarily for everybody, but a lot of us have in us like, I'm not I'm not lovable. That's one I see a lot. I see another one I see a lot is I'm trapped. A lot of people feel trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that they picked up. Also, the emotions of unsupported is one I see a lot. A lot of people feel unsupported. That
Mm-hmm.
fear, of course, is in there. Dread,
Right.
sometimes grief is in there a lot. Resentment is another one that I see a lot. So these emotions, but the way that they work is, so say you have the trapped emotion of say grief in your body, and we see it at age 5, that would be that something happened in your life the age range could be 4, 5, or 6, but around that age, around 5, an event happened in your life where you felt grief, but you weren't able to express it or process it or talk about it, or maybe it wasn't safe in your family to talk about your emotions or whatever it was. And then you took that emotion of grief, which is just an emotion, is just like a vibrating ball of energy, stuck it, maybe it's in your heart, and it's still there, and it becomes one of your go-to emotions, like, because like attracts like. So say you trap it in there, it's going to attract sort of more grief, meaning you're going to feel grief more often. It might become your primary emotion, or one emotion that you feel often.
Yeah, because I always hear, like, when you talk about like manifestation, everything is energy, and what you focus on expands and grows. And so when you focus on that negative energy, that expands in your life.
Yes, exactly. That's why I think it's so important to clear this out. Because if you have emotions that you haven't processed, and we all do, by the way, so there's no shame or anything in there. We are human. We all have these emotions, but that's why it's important to clean it out, because you might be trying to manifest something, but if you have that emotion, say, of, or maybe you have a belief like, bad things happen to me. I mean, sometimes people, I find bad things always happen to me. That's actually a belief. Or I'm not lucky. Those are beliefs. If you have those beliefs, they're actually running the show, not your conscious mind. So we want to get rid of that, because it's going to be really difficult to manifest, say, your partner, if you have a belief, bad things always happen to me, or I'm not lucky, or I'm not attractive, or I'm not lovable, or whatever it is. So we want to get rid of the things that are like at cross purposes to what you want in your life. And those things are really programming and conditioning, or ancestral also, or inherited. So they're pieces that are working against us, but it's important to get them out so we can kind of get to our manifestation faster.
Yeah, because like our energy and our thoughts that come over, like our thoughts have their energy, of course, as well, and they become your blueprint for what goes on in your life, of course.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I think our beliefs are actually to me, the most foundational element that we have to create our lives, because our belief, whatever we believe, creates a thought. That thought creates an emotion in us. That emotion creates a response, how we respond to somebody, and how we respond to things creates the life that we live. So to me, if we want to find the root of anything, we have to go deep in there to the belief to make change. Otherwise, we're kind of up here on the top, not really making those changes. Maybe.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface, but we have to go below the surface to actually see what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you mentioned you want to do a mini session on me, so I'm excited about that. So
yeah. So we can just do like a little bit to just get some information and see if you can make a shift. Mostly these sessions are much longer, and I work with people for 2 months at a time, but we're going to see what we can get for you today. So is there something that you would like to shift in your life, like maybe an issue, a pattern, or a problem?
Well, there's one thing that's always just that happens to come up. I've done a lot of healing work, and I've had therapy, and there's this one thing that always seems to be stuck, and that's like I tie my worthiness to my productivity.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So tie worthiness. Oh, I got that one too. So it's like, okay, the tie to worthiness equals productivity. Let's see, how do we say it? Is it sort of like a belief I'm only worthy if I'm productive?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know, like, intellectually, I know better, but
yeah,
there's still something inside of me that says, well, you should maybe need to work a bit harder, or prove that you can actually do it.
Yes. Okay. So let's look at this. So let me just tune into you for a minute. So give me 1 second. And we always ask permission, and we work with your guides and my guides. And so actually, do you know your grandma on your mom's side?
Yes.
Is she alive or not alive?
No, no.
Okay, so she's showing up right now. So I don't know. We'll see what that means. You might
Mhm.
mean that you got something from her. Okay, we're
I
gonna.
have a strong connection to her. She shows up
Oh, she shows
here
up a
as
lot.
well. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, she's here like very present in
She's like
yours.
my biggest cheerleader.
Oh, okay, that's why she's here. Hi, Grandma. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I'm only worthy if I'm productive. Okay, so you actually, it's funny. You actually do have the emotion of unsupported at age 9. So feeling unsupported is the first emotion that I find in your body. You're 8, you were 9 when you trapped it, so 8, 9, or 10.
Mhm.
That's actually in your solar plexus chakra. So that's about
Mhm.
confidence and personal power. So
Mhm.
the first thing I would ask you is, do you remember anything around that age? Like it could even be small. Like some of them
Mhm.
are like so small, but little you
Yeah.
really to
The first thing that comes to mind is that during, I don't know my exact age at the time, but this is what comes up. It's like my mom was in the hospital for a longer time,
Oh,
and
okay.
for about 6 months she was in the hospital,
Oh,
and my dad was working a lot. So yeah, and my sister was at school often. I went to school as well, but my sister already, we're quite a lot of difference in age. So she is older, a lot older than me. So I think that's where I felt a bit unheard, alone,
yeah.
unsupported. Well, I know now, of course, as an adult, I know I was supported, but I
Yeah.
think I didn't feel it at that time.
Yeah. And that's what this is your younger
Mhm.
self is coming in to say, hey, this is part of this. This is not
Mhm.
the whole thing. This is a
Right.
piece of this. I'm only worthy if I'm productive. But
Right.
unsupported, is that an emotion that you feel often now as a grown up or throughout your life or
Yes, yes, I do.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that first, and I'm gonna actually define unsupported. It's lack of support, help, or
Mhm.
encouragement, maybe not provided for by another person, not
Mhm.
defended when help is needed, or feeling the burdens too heavy to bear alone. So
Mm.
sort of that.
Right. Yeah, especially that last line. That was when I think of myself as a kid, it was a lot to carry when I was
Yeah.
young. That having not having my mother around. Well, she, like I said, she was in the hospital for an extended period of time, and her health wasn't doing well. So, yeah, that's hard for any kid to carry, of course.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so that's like one piece in there. It's not the whole thing, of course. So give me a second
Hmm.
here. Okay, so I'm just gonna write it down. So there's a belief in you. So let's see. Let's see, is this yours? Okay, so this is not yours. I It's in your mom's line. Your mom has it.
Hmm.
Uh maybe that's why grandma's here. Is it mom's or is it grandma's? Mom's or grandma? It actually might be grandma's, which is why she showed up. So it's a belief that you hold in your body that says something's wrong with me.
Hmm.
So the way this can look, so it looks different in different generations. So grandma, I think it's grandma who showed up, had this belief. It could be physical, but it could be something totally different. But she would have gotten it before your mother was born. So she could have been a little girl and she thought this. I don't know, maybe you kind of know her story, but
Hmm.
something's wrong with me was a belief that she picked up at some time before your mom was born. Then your mom got it, and then you
Hmm.
have it. It could look different though. Something's
Hmm.
wrong with me can it could be physical, it could be emotional.
Hmm.
I don't, do you have a do you know do you have a
I don't
connection?
know from my grandmother's side. I do know from my mom's side, she has a chronic illness and she has a lot of people-pleasing tendencies. So I think that's
Oh,
why she always had to explain her illness because it's not visible on the outside. So she always felt the need to like explain herself and like, yeah. And yeah, so that was very hard. And I think I have that tendency as well because I've suffered from anxiety and PTSD for a long time. And
Yeah.
also that's not visible on the outside. So you have to explain why you're not working, why you don't have much energy. And yeah.
Yeah, so it's possible there could be shame
Mhm.
pieces attached to something's wrong with me, which then ties to your productivity, right? Because
Right.
that's what you're asking about, sort of. So
Right.
there's no tie there. But the other thing is that it came further than mom. What is grandma's story? Like, do you know her, do
Mm-hmm.
you think about her life that,
I don't know that much about her life, honestly.
where did she grow up? Do you know?
She in the Netherlands as well.
In the Netherlands. So one thing that I like to do, ask people if we get to an inherited belief that came down the line is, and you don't have to do this now, but is to actually look up in history what was
Mm-hmm.
going on in the Netherlands during the time grandma was growing up,
Right.
because there could be something historically
Mm-hmm.
that was happening, and you're like, oh, I see why she feels that. For example, I work with uh, a couple people whose grandparents, I think of their grandparents or parents or something, who were in the Holocaust. And we come to
Mm-hmm.
something, we're like, oh gosh, okay, that's probably why
Mm-hmm.
that got trapped in there. So
Yeah.
one way to think is like what was historically happening during the time my
Right.
grandma was growing
I
up.
will have to look that up. Yeah. I
Yeah.
will have to ask my mom to dig a bit
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe your mom knows. Okay,
Yeah.
so and by the way, we haven't cleared any of this yet. We're just being detectives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the last little piece will look for you. Okay, I'm only where are they? Okay, this is actually a heart. It's in your heart. Okay, so there's a belief that says, okay, wait, let me just write it. So there's a belief that you have, and this is yours. I don't feel loved and supported by my friends. And it
Mm-hmm.
might not necessarily be true, by the way. Like some
Mm-hmm.
of these are but it could be something, or that's what your body's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thought about that?
Well, the last few years, I've actually lost quite a few friends. So maybe that's what's lingering in the back of my mind. I lost a lot of friendships that, well, some were friends for 15 years and they chose a different path. And of course, that's hard. And I went to like a grieving process. So I still have friends and I have great friends at that. So, but I think that's behind that because like over the last like 2 years or so, I've lost about 3 friendships.
Yeah, so there's something in there. How does it tie to productivity, though?
It doesn't. I think it's more to the worthiness.
Okay, so more to the worthiness. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That
Hmm.
makes sense. So your body's telling me that you feeling unsupported. So it is something about feeling supported. Something's wrong with me. So it's like a personal thing. And I don't feel loved and supported by my friends. Those pieces contribute to, yeah, you feeling unworthy. Therefore, I must be productive.
Right.
It's not the whole picture. Like if we work together in a whole session, we would see more, but that's kind of at least that's a good information and a
Hmm.
good point for you to start.
Right.
Um, we're gonna release them now, and
Mm.
I'm gonna actually ask your grandma for some help and a new, more empowering belief. But before, let's just release this. So you can just relax and hold
Mm.
the intention to release. I'm gonna make sure that it's leaving your body. So let's release unsupported. I use a magnet to release these. At
Mm.
age 9, we're gonna release something is wrong with me, inherited from grandma. And from your heart, we're going to release the belief I don't feel loved and supported by my friends. And I just want you to take a breath in, breathe it out, releasing these pieces from your body. It's safe to let them go. Good. Perfect. we're going to ask your grandma or whoever's here for a little bit of help. What's a new, more empowering belief that we can replace that one with? Ah, okay. So what I'm hearing is, so actually you have a part of it is visibility for you, I think. I allow others to see my true self. That's what I want you to know. So I think the worthiness piece, I don't know if there's been hiding for you or some hiding where you, I mean, I know you have this podcast in this series, which is amazing. That's being seen, but there's a part of you that's still hiding, is what they're saying. And that when you own that and bring that out, your worthiness also grows because you have so much to share, so much to give, that also, when you share that with others, you're going to also share that part of yourself, and it's going to help you feel worthy. And the productivity part isn't really as important, because as you start showing up as your full self, so your true self, that's what they're saying, your true self, that creates worthiness, it creates abundance, it creates friendships and support. So all the things that you want in your life come from you being seen, actually.
Yeah.
Do you have trouble being seen, or?
Not anymore. I'm a lot more open. It took a while, of course. Like I said, I have had some trauma and PTSD and anxiety I had to work through. And now that I've healed that, and I can finally fully say that I've healed that, it's a lot more easy to speak my truth and own my power and be seen, even in my vulnerability, but also in my strength.
Good. And so I think the invitation is there a place in your life? So it might be professional, but it might be in your relationships, or I don't know, where you're hiding still. So I think that's the invitation, is to look at where, so maybe in some areas, yeah, and I can see you have that, but maybe there's some area or one area where you are still a little bit hiding. So the invitation is to be seen there.
Okay.
So let's put this into your energy field. And when we do a more empowering belief, it's not like, hey, I make you do this thing, right? The way I view it is like, when we work together, my spirit guides, your spirit guides, my higher self, your higher self, they're working. We're just humans. We're over here being ourselves. But we give these new, more empowering belief to your higher self, and your higher self decides what to do with it. So let's gift that. So I allow others to see my true self. So I'm going to hold the intention to gift that to your higher self. And your higher self's like, yes, this is good. And we'll bring that to you. Yeah, perfect. So I just wanted to take one more breath in and just breathe it out and feel your energy all around you. Safe in your energy field, powerful, strong, safe to be seen, whole and worthy. Good. Well, you can open your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It's always interesting to me to see that you can connect to my spirit team. And I do that quite often. So I always find it fascinating when they come through via
Yeah,
some
your grandma was like right there immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel her there and just say, hi, you're here
Yeah,
again.
she was like, oh, hello.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And
You're
for the
so,
conversation and for your sharing your wisdom with us.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.